Thank you.
See you later.
8:53 right now. So an author who's written a book about climate change for children has teamed up with a very high-profile environmentalist, that is, King Charles.
Christopher Lloyd's book is called It's Up to Us, and he says the monarch inspired him to write it. It's now been turned into an animated film for Earth Day. Let's take a look.
Children have a unique curiosity for nature and for this amazing planet we call home.
Ever since the Earth was formed more than 4 billion years ago, its temperature has been changing.
What the world needs is for children all around it to imagine the type of future you want to build.
Together we must imagine a brighter future and work together across the world to make it come true. Because
it's up to us.
It's up to us. A children's Terra Carta for nature, people and planet by Christopher Lloyd.
Make sure they give you the right ones.
And
Just
Christopher, or Chris, as he just told us, you prefer Chris, don't you?
Yes, Chris is great.
Chris,
Thank
is
you.
that what you told King Charles? Just call me Chris.
Yeah, just call me Chris. Exactly.
Yes.
It's a good line, isn't it?
It is. Now, what lovely pictures. I mean, we were just saying here, it's like they're, what did you say, like pastels?
It looks like pastels of some, I don't know.
Yes, well, they're all there are 33 different artists in the book, and they all have their own individual styles.
Beautiful.
Usually when you do a children's book, you have one artist to keep the continuity. This time we wanted as many artists to tell the story through as many different cultural lenses as possible, because, of course, the story is all about how it's up to us as a planet. Not just one people.
And tell us the story of how it all came to life, the animation then, from the
well,
page to...
yes, indeed. Well, it started off with an idea that the Prince of Wales had, now King Charles, of course, for a Terra Carta, a new treaty with the planet. It was initially aimed at business leaders, and I'm a children's author, I felt actually we could have a bigger impact by doing a children's book, because children need to have a conversation, really, with the adults in their lives about how we think more longer term about the planet in the future. So that's where the origin of the book came from. And so now that's been turned into an animation, which is absolutely, fantastic. So.
And as we heard just a moment ago, King Charles is the voice.
He's written the foreword to the book, and he's written some really inspiring words about how children have a unique curiosity for nature. And in a way, children are much more in touch with nature than we are as adults, because, we sort of lose touch and we become apart from nature. And sometimes we need to remind ourselves that we're part of nature, and children can be the key to making that connection.
Do you think that is the case now? I'm not sure how aware you were as a child of the big picture stuff. Do you think there is a generation now of young people who are at an entirely different place?
I do. And I think really from quite an early age, when children become aware of their surroundings from the age of about 5 and 6 and 7, they're able to think about, really important, significant things, and they care about animals instinctively. They care about being outside and feeling the wind on their face. They want to go to the beach. They want to go for a walk in the woods. We do lose touch with that when we're worried about jobs and mortgages and things. So I think they if anyone, they're the ones that are the key to thinking long term.
And in fact, you talk about the involvement of the King. We can play a special message from King Charles asking children to get involved, which was actually filmed last year when he was still Prince of Wales.
Right,
Let's have a look.
Here's my challenge to you. Take out a blank piece of paper and draw, paint or write about the future you would like to see. One that puts nature at the heart of everything we do. That way we can share our ideas with as many people as possible.
But talking about the way children now are so absorbed with the concept of climate change and protecting the planet, it's kind of now part of their DNA almost, and the things they talk about in school.
It is.
But sometimes it's just about the pure joy and appreciation of the world around us. And I will never forget taking my son out for our first sort of exploratory walk beyond our local area during lockdown, when you could go a little bit further away, and we went to a nearby woods, and he just ran to a tree and wrapped his arms around it.
That's fantastic.
And it was so powerful, that moment,
powerful.
but we forget it.
We do, but you remember it because it was your child.
Yeah.
You were a witness to it. And that's the point of this book. It's up to us, is about connecting young people and activating them to celebrate nature in a way that adults sort of stop their normal way of life and think, gosh, this is really important, this is really special. And if we can get that dialogue to flow, which is why I think doing this through a children's book and appealing, as the King has just done, to children to write, paint and draw a future they want to see that puts nature first, then adults may be able to pay more attention, which is, of course...
Do you have to be careful as a children's author not to patronise children? Because a lot of information out there, and they know stuff, don't they? Maybe more so than we did before. There's a balance to be had there, isn't there?
There is.
Of making sure you've got a message and they're going to understand it.
Yep.
But you're not kind of stating the glaringly obvious.
No. And to be honest, I would never patronise children. I spent my career going into schools, doing workshops, and I learn as much from them, if not more. That's what makes my job so interesting.
Like Q&A sessions?
Absolutely. And they come up with incredible observations and amazing questions. And I was in school the other day talking about climate change and the environment. We started having a debate about what the children could do to make a difference. So they said, well, maybe we need solar panels on our school roof. I said, you haven't got solar panels? Why not? And they said, I don't know why not. And so maybe they cost too much. Well, maybe we could raise some money. I can make cakes, said one of them, you know. And they started writing their own Terra Carta, their own set of ideas and things that they can do to try and convince the adults in their world to actually, you know, take action and do something positive for the long term.
Well, it's a beautiful book.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is. It really is. And we'll see what kind of impact it has. Thank you so much. Nice to see you here.
Thanks very much for having me. Lovely. Thank you.